Welcome to English Storytime Adventures. In today's video, we're going to listen to an exciting short story that will help you improve your English skills. Listen carefully and follow along with the subtitles. Before we begin, here are some key words you'll hear in the story. Pay attention to their meaning and try to use them in your own sentences later. Landscape. All the visible features of an area of land, often considered in terms of their aesthetic appeal. Emotion, a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. Newsletter, a bulletin issued periodically to the members of a society, business, or organization. Periodical, a magazine or newspaper published at regular intervals. Now that you're familiar with these words, let's begin the story. Emma was a quiet girl who loved spending her time in the school garden. Every day after class, she would go there to read, write, or just sit quietly, enjoying the beautiful landscape around her. The garden was full of colorful flowers, tall trees, and a small pond where birds often visited. For Emma, the garden was a peaceful escape from the noise of the classroom. One day, as she walked into the garden, she noticed something different. There was a new poster on the school's newsletter board. It read, "Join the Garden Club." Emma had never heard of the club before, so she was curious. She decided to attend the first meeting, hoping to learn more about the garden and meet other students who also enjoyed nature. The next day, Emma went to the club's first meeting in the school library. There were about 10 students there, including Emma's friend Sarah. Mr. Collins, their science teacher, led the club. "We are starting this garden club to teach students about nature and how to take care of the school's beautiful landscape," Mr. Collins said. Emma was excited. She loved the idea of learning more about the garden she admired so much. During the meeting, Mr. Collins also handed out the first edition of the club's periodical, which was a small magazine about the school garden. Inside were articles about different plants, the animals that visited the pond, and even tips on how to take care of flowers. Emma was amazed by how much she didn't know about the garden. She had always loved it, but now she realized there was so much more to learn. As the club meetings went on, Emma began to notice a change in her emotions. She felt happier and more connected to her classmates. The club gave her a chance to share her thoughts and feelings about nature, something she usually kept to herself. She also learned how working in the garden helped her relax and clear her mind after a long day of studying. One afternoon, as the club was planting new flowers, Sarah told Emma about a rumor. "I heard there's a hidden treasure in the garden," Sarah whispered with excitement in her voice. Emma laughed at first, but she was also curious. Could it be true? She decided to investigate. That evening, Emma stayed in the garden after everyone had left. She walked around, carefully looking at the trees, the pond, and the flower beds. Just when she was about to give up, she saw something shiny near the pond. She knelt down and found an old rusty key buried in the dirt. Her heart raced. Could this be the key to the treasure? The next day, Emma told Mr. Collins and the other club members about the key. Mr. Collins smiled and said, "This key belonged to the school's founder. He loved the garden and spent a lot of time here, but I don't think there's any treasure. Still, the key is an important part of our school's history. Thank you for finding it." Emma felt proud. While there wasn't any treasure, finding the key was still exciting. She realized that the real treasure was the time she spent in the garden, learning about nature and the friendships she had made in the garden club. From then on, Emma continued to enjoy the garden, but now with a deeper understanding and appreciation for the landscape and the people around her. Great job following along with the story. Now, let's review the key words we learned today. Landscape. All the visible features of an area of land, often considered in terms of their aesthetic appeal. Example from the story. She loved the idea of learning more about the garden she admired so much, especially the beautiful landscape around her. Emotion. A natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. Example from the story. As the club meetings went on, Emma began to notice a change in her emotions. She felt happier and more connected to her classmates. Newsletter, a bulletin issued periodically to the members of a society, business, or organization. Example from the story. There was a new poster on the school's newsletter board. It read, "Join the Garden Club." Periodical, a magazine or newspaper published at regular intervals. Example from the story. Mr. Collins also handed out the first edition of the club's periodical, which was a small magazine about the school garden. Now, let's check your understanding of the story. See if you can answer these questions. Question 1. Who told Emma about the treasure rumor, and what did Emma decide to do after hearing it? Question 2. Can you think of another word to describe how Emma felt when she found the key near the pond? Feel free to pause the video and write down your answers in the comments. Great work today. Well done. You've just completed another story with English Storytime Adventures. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more fun and educational stories. And don't forget to leave a comment with your thoughts or answers to the questions. I'd love to see how much you've learned. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next episode of English Storytime Adventures. Until then, happy learning.